Mission to Disaster by Justina Ireland is the third and final middle grade book in Phase 1 of the High Republic. Of the 3 middle grade books so far, I think this one was my favorite. It felt more impactful to the entirety of the era than A Test of Courage or Race to Crash Point Tower, and it balances out well with The Fallen Star, the adult novel that was also recently released. In my review for The Fallen Star, I said I missed some of the planet-hopping adventures many of my favorite Star Wars stories have, because nearly the entire book takes place in one location. Mission to Disaster gets to bounce around between locations and characters, and I enjoyed that. I'm starting to see more and more how each of the new High Republic books balances out with the others to not only push the overarching narrative forward, but also keep the storytelling fresh and varied. I'm grateful that if I missed something in a previous book, the next one might have exactly what I'm looking for. Mission to Disaster takes place shortly before The Fallen Star and deals with an incident mentioned in that novel. But don't worry if you read The Fallen Star first, one book doesn't spoil the other at all. I read Mission to Disaster second, and that provided some fun dramatic irony for me. But I can also see the merits in reading it before the adult novel. It just comes down to preference. The story centers around the kidnapping of Avon Starros, who was introduced in A Test of Courage. She is taken by the Nile, and her Jedi friends Vernestra and Imri of course want to rescue her, but they have to deal with several other crises along the way, helping the victims of other kidnappings and attacks, all while the Nile work towards a nefarious plan. The stakes are raised significantly higher than most middle-grade Star Wars books. Both Jedi characters mention their frustration in having to put their own personal mission on hold several times, and I think that's a major theme of the book, learning to place the needs of the many over the needs of the few. Vernestra and Imri's desire to help Avon is obviously a good instinct, but it's also, at least in part, coming from a place of selfishness. Both Jedi wrestle with, but ultimately accept the realization that helping the many helps the few as well. Offering aid and relief to the many victims of the Nile does wind up helping Avon. There's a new character in the book, Dr. Zadina Macampa, who serves as a foil to both the Jedi and Avon. She illustrates how chasing after those selfish desires, even if they're not inherently bad, can lead to corruption. A Test of Courage shows Avon Starros to be a curious and highly intelligent girl. She tinkers with things because she can. She's a senator's daughter and she's smart. She can get away with anything. Macampa is a scientist who follows those same principles, but dialed up to 11. She wants to tinker with, let's say the tectonic plates of a planet, just to see what'll happen, just because she can. She places her own personal and mental progress over the progress of those around her, and it's led her to some dark places, like working with the Nile, making new kinds of weapons. The physical manifestation of the consequences of her single-mindedness can be seen in her many cybernetics, the result of some as-of-yet unknown accident. That's a well-known Star Wars trope. Personal quests and obsessions will leave you looking like Darth Vader or General Grievous. It's the loss of humanity. Macampa is like a potential future for Avon, a future that she rejects. The closest we ever come to being truly one with the Force is when we're working to help make the galaxy a better place for everyone. That quote from the book is at the heart of the story, and it also happens to line up perfectly with George Lucas's own philosophies that led to his creation of the Force. In the Star Wars archives, he said, "In trying to figure out what life is all about, we ultimately come down to expressions of compassion and love, helping the rest of the life force, caring about others without any conditions or expectations, without expecting to get anything in return." At its core, the light side of the Force is all about selflessly helping others. But what happens when it all becomes overwhelming, when it feels like everyone everywhere needs help and roadblocks keep getting in the way? That's another thing Vernestra struggles with throughout the book. In that way, Mission to Disaster is kinda like a lighter version of The Fallen Star. Problems pop up one after the other, and each requires its own creative solution. The common lesson in both stories is to focus on what you can do, one thing at a time. Looking at all the problems can be daunting, but focusing on just the problem at hand is often doable. As Vernestra says at one point, don't let your worry take hold of you. Accept it and let it wash over you and propel you into action. Mission to Disaster had a handful of really great quotes and lessons mixed into a fun little adventure. As someone in my 30s, the middle grade books can be hit or miss. They're written for a younger audience, that's just the reality of the situation. But this one was a hit for me. I really got into the themes of the book, and the elevated stakes had me fully invested. And there are quite a few teases for ideas that will almost definitely reappear when we begin Phase 2 of the High Republic in October. If you're interested in checking out Mission to Disaster, you can pick up the audiobook for free on Audible. Just click on the link in the description or visit www.audibletrial.com/Star Wars Explained. The audiobook is out right now, and the production value on all the Star Wars books is very high with sound effects and music. It's like listening to a movie. Signing up for an Audible trial will get you a credit for one free book, and you can use it on Mission to Disaster, or the other High Republic books, or just about any Star Wars book you can think of. Or get any book you want. The point is, you get a free book, and you'll be supporting the channel when you do. But that's it for today. If you haven't already, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, and consider checking out our Patreon page. As always, thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you.